It's great to be a Democrat. It's even greater to be a Florida Democrat. You want to win, right? You want to beat Rick Scott, right? You've had enough of him, right? It's time to make a change. Well, the way to do it is to make sure everybody gets out and votes. That's the way to do it. We're good, he's bad. First year, his first session, he cut education by $1.3 billion. It's unconscionable. But it's worse than that, Harriet. You know why? She always gives me a hard time for saying her name. No mas. The reason it's worse than that, 1.3 billion is horrific. It's terrible. You know, how you can do that to our kids and our teachers is beyond my comprehension. And expect them to get good jobs when they get out of school? Come on. That's nonsense, not common sense. And what he actually recommended, though, was a reduction of not 1.3 billion, but almost 5 billion the first year, to completely decimate education in the state of Florida. The next year, he cuts $300 million out of our great universities. $300 million. What are you talking about, Rick? That's unbelievable. You know, a great president once said, government should be of the people, by the people, and for the people. You know who that was? Abraham Lincoln. Now that was a good Republican. The great emancipator, after all. Where's Rick Scott on the environment? Let me give you one example. Let's talk about the Everglades. You know what he wants to do in the Everglades? He wants to drill for oil in the Everglades. Can't make it up. It's unbelievable. So, on the environment, we're good, he's bad. These are talking points for your friends that happen to be the truth. You know that I was your governor before and cared about you. Cared about the environment. Cared about our teachers. You know, when I was governor during the Great Recession, nothing really great was about it. But when I was governor during that most difficult economic time, except for the Depression itself, we had the highest per pupil spending in education in the history of Florida. Wow. Yeah. Almost $200 more than Rick Scott's doing, and they have, God bless you, and it's important. And they have almost a $2.7 billion surplus in the budget. That's crazy. That's how much they don't value kids. They're taking their money and giving it to corporations in the form of tax cuts. That's wrong. So I signed it. Nobody challenged it. And early voting got expanded. A lot more than And to Bert's point before, guess who got elected president? Barack Obama. And he won Florida. Now, I remember, I was a Republican at the time. Polluting the St. Lucie River and the Caloosahatchee River and the Indian River Lagoon is wrong. And Rick Scott's doing it. And then he blames it on the president. Is that following Monday was going to be the first vote of those people I had appointed and whether or not they were going to stop the discharges out of Lake Okeechobee and try to get those rivers clean again. So half the time on my honeymoon, I'm on the phone calling the board members. I won't tell you what I'm doing the other half. Let me talk about ethics for a minute. Ethics. Okay, I have a record as governor, right? And now Rick Scott has a record as governor. Okay? Now I had a record before I was governor. You know what I did? I was a prosecutor. I was the Attorney General of Florida. Rick Scott had a record before he was governor. talking about ethics. His company, Columbia HCA, largest hospital chain in America at the time. Under his leadership, while he was the CEO and the man in charge, had to pay the largest fine for Medicare fraud in the history of the United States of America. He takes $75 million that his company stole from all of us, and he bought the governor's mansion. Once. As my wife tells me, Charlie, sometimes you just call a thing a thing. Well, that's what I'm doing. It's called telling the truth. The truth. So how did the company get fined so much? Why? What exactly did they do? What's fraud? What does that mean? Well, in their case, they had kickbacks to doctors to get more patients. That's wonderful. Kickbacks. In addition, they overcharged people. They call it upcoding in the medical business. Upcoding means they stole from people. Means they put false reports into the Medicare office and list of things that they never really did. Or charged too much for the things they were supposed to charge. Billions and billions of dollars worth of your and my money. He's the guy. Number one fine in America, history at the time. I was talking to a friend not long ago, Bert, said, you know, just to be in the top 10 fraudsters in the country is quite an accomplishment. This guy was number one, his company. It's because it's important. So why is it important to you? He said, Mom and Dad told me. Tell the truth. Your word is your bond.
That's right.
Be straight with folks. Don't lie to them and don't cheat them. Right? Right. You were all told it too when we were little kids. Little kids know that. So, you know how many times I pled the fifth in my life? You know how many times I pled the fifth in my life? Never. 75 to none. On ethics, we're good. He's terrible. On education, we're good. He's terrible. On the environment, we're good. He's terrible. You get the theme? I mean, people have asked